Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving headfirst into, well, the buzzing heart of Bangalore, India. You know it as the Silicon Valley of India, right? It's this dynamic mix of innovation, youth, and what we're really digging into today, a booming cafe culture. Our mission for you is to pull out the most important nuggets from industry reports, market trends, all that local insight, basically giving you the ultimate shortcut to being genuinely well-informed about the cafe business there, right now, as of July 2025. We're doing a full SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. It's going to show you the huge potential, but also the real hurdles cafes face in this pretty unique city.
That's absolutely spot on. And Bangalore's demographic is key here. You've got this massive concentration of tech professionals, students, a growing urban middle class. They don't just support a cafe culture, they actively, well, create it, which makes Bangalore just a fascinating place to understand, modern urban consumers and how businesses work today. It's quite distinct.
Okay, let's get into it then. Let's start with the strengths of the Bangalore cafe market. The first and maybe the most obvious one is just the sheer demand, high market demand. And who's driving it? It's those young professionals, tech workers, students, a huge base. But it's more than just needing coffee, right? In Bangalore, cafes are like extensions of the tech workplace, almost a third space. You see networking happening there, people using cafe tables as their main desk for the day. That specific blend really fuels their success. And you see them all over, like TripAdvisor, getting buzz for ambiance, what they offer.
Exactly. And that whole scene creates some really interesting differentiation opportunities for cafes that are smart about it. Take Nerlu Cafe, our sources highlight them. They showcase coffees from over 200 independent Indian roasters. Think about that. That's not just variety. It taps into this growing conscious consumer thing in Bangalore. Local pride, artisanal quality. It's very niche. It builds incredible loyalty because it feels authentic, It sets them apart. And of course, location, location, location. Still absolutely crucial. Prime locations with high foot traffic are a massive advantage. Think Koramangala, Indiranagar, MG Road. Those are the hotspots. A cafe near, say, the Forum Mall in Koramangala, that's almost a guaranteed flow of people.
Right, location makes a huge difference.
Definitely. And this all feeds into this broader trend, India's growing coffee culture. Disposable incomes are rising, people have more global exposure, and you're seeing this shift away from just traditional tea towards coffee. The numbers back it up, too. The Indian coffee market was valued at, $1.81 billion in 2023, and it's projected to keep growing, so the underlying trend is strong.
That paints a really positive picture, like a real boom. But, well, every market has its challenges, right? Let's flip the coin. Let's talk about the internal struggles, the weaknesses that cafes in Bangalore are dealing with. One major thing that came up is inconsistent quality. It's tough, isn't it? Maintaining that perfect cup, that same great experience every single time. If you don't have standardized processes, or maybe the barista training isn't quite there, or brewing techniques are off, well, customers notice. And they might not come back.
Yeah, and that quality issue often stems from deeper operational inefficiencies. A lot of places, especially smaller ones, maybe haven't adopted technology effectively. Things like proper point-of-sale systems or inventory management software. Without those, things get messy. You get delays, mistakes, rising costs. It just makes running the business harder and more expensive. And the costs, they're already a huge burden, especially high operational costs in those prime spots we talked about. The data shows commercial rents in Koramangala hitting like 80 to 125 per square foot per month. That alone can chew up, say, 15 to 25% of your revenue, just rent. Wow, 15 to 25% just for rent.
Exactly. Before you even pay your staff or buy ingredients. Which brings us to another weakness, staff retention challenges. Holding on to skilled baristas, good service staff.
Yeah.
It's really tough. There's so much competition for talent, and the work can be demanding. So you get high turnover, which disrupts service, means you're constantly spending money on training new people, and it's a difficult cycle to break.
You can really feel the pressure points there.
Yeah.
Okay, so internal issues are significant. But let's shift gears again. Despite those weaknesses, there are definitely opportunities shining through in this market. The big one, I think, is just continued market expansion. The projection for the Indian coffee chain market specifically is pretty staggering. It's expected to grow from about $160.6 million in 2023 to $323.8 million by 2033. That's a compound annual growth rate of 8.1%, really doubling in a decade. And with Bangalore itself growing, more people, more disposable income, there's clearly room for growth for new players and existing ones to expand.
Absolutely. And that growth potential pairs really well with technology integration, adopting those POS systems we mentioned, adding online ordering platforms, maybe loyalty programs. It's not just about efficiency anymore. It's about engaging customers better, making things smoother for them. Imagine ordering ahead easily, getting rewards. Beyond tech, there are huge opportunities in collaborations and smart marketing, partnering up with other local businesses, maybe working with influencers that can really boost visibility. And in Bangalore, with its super tech-savvy population, you absolutely have to nail your social media marketing. It's critical.
Makes sense. You have to reach people where they are.
Precisely. And finally, menu innovation. This is key. Introducing trending items, maybe it's more plant-based options, which are huge now, or getting creative with fusion dishes, like potty hot chocolates. Potty's that savory South Indian spice mix. Sounds weird, but it's the kind of unique twist that gets people talking. We saw examples like Mud Pipe Cafe offering a mix, Italian, continental, Mexican, just catering to diverse tastes. You have to keep things fresh.
Okay, so we've got the internal strengths and weaknesses, the opportunities. But what about the external curveballs? Let's look at the threats that Bangalore cafes are facing from the outside. And the elephant in the room has to be intense competition. It's not just the cool independent cafe down the street. You've got the giants. Cafe Coffee Day, they had, what, 450 outlets across India in FY24?
Yeah.
And Starbucks, obviously. They're all fighting for the same customers. And one source mentioned a really concerning stat. Smaller independent cafes often struggle to survive past 18 months. The costs just overwhelm them.
It's a tough reality, and a big part of that cost pressure is the rising rental costs. Rents aren't static. They're projected to go up another 5 to 7% in 2025. So that prime core Mangala spot hitting 125 per square foot, that number is likely going higher. It just relentlessly squeezes profit margins, especially for the little guys.
Yeah, that constant upward pressure on rent must be brutal.
It is. And then you add the volatility of fluctuating ingredient costs. Coffee bean prices can swing wildly on the global market, other ingredients too. Plus, internal factors like food wastage or, poor portion control can make those costs even worse. Profitability is constantly under threat. And you also have to contend with changing consumer preferences. Tastes shift. People want healthier options one day. The next, they want a really unique experiential thing like those fusion cocktails that Isla's mentioned in the sources. So cafes have to constantly innovate, constantly adapt, just to stay relevant. You can't rest on your laurels.
Staying ahead of the curve seems vital.
Absolutely. And finally, you can't ignore the broader economic factors. If there's an economic downturn or even just a dip in disposable income, spending on things like coffee and eating out is often one of the first things people cut back on. So that's always a background risk.
It really is a complex picture. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, all interacting. But okay, let's bring it together. Our deep dive wouldn't be complete without summing up the strategic recommendations from our sources. How can cafes actually succeed in this Bangalore market?
Right. So boiling it all down, the key advice seems to be, first, really invest in quality control, standardize things, train your staff well, consistency is king. Second, leverage technology, get those POS systems, online ordering, maybe loyalty apps, streamline your operations, connect better with customers. It's not optional now. Third, actively optimize costs. Don't just accept supplier prices, negotiate. Look at multiple vendors. Maybe consider locations just slightly off the absolute prime spots for better rent deals. Fourth, innovate continuously. Keep the menu fresh. Update the ambience. Think about those trends, plant-based, fusion, unique experiences. Keep people interested. And fifth, really enhance your marketing, especially digital. Focus hard on social media, maybe smart collaborations with influencers. Reach that tech-savvy Bangalore crowd effectively.
That's a great summary. What a journey we've taken through Bangalore's cafe scene. We've really peeled back the layers, haven't we? Showing both the incredible opportunities, but also those very real, tough challenges. It seems clear that success there isn't just about having good coffee. It's about being strategic, adaptable, and really understanding the business side.
Indeed. And maybe a final thought for you listening. As you think about the specific deep dive into Bangalore cafes, consider how these core ideas are adapting to change, the need for constant innovation, managing costs strategically. How might those principles apply elsewhere, maybe to other fast-moving consumer markets or different kinds of niche industries, perhaps even something closer to home in your own city or your own line of work? The specific context changes, but those underlying dynamics of business survival and growth, they're often surprisingly universal.